Okay, so I will go ahead and start this meeting. And the reason I am calling it to order is because we have, our first item is board member seat appointments. So this is also the reason why Russell's sitting on the outskirts instead of at our table today. So because when SIB was created, they appointed people on the off years. So every other board was appointed in March of this year. Their terms were up, and SIB was not, which meant that some people who are on other boards, like Deborah, who is on the MAPC, is no longer on MAPC, and her seat on SIB specifically relied on her being on MAPC. Same with Russell with Bike Ped, our mayor's youth council person as well, and then Jennifer from Diversity, Inclusion, and Civil Rights Advisory Board. And still trying to get home from transit, which means we have a few open seats on SIB. And currently our total is 9. So we are at quorum today, but that's kind of also why I'm leading the meeting today. So Laura could not be here. But I am working on getting those vacancies filled. I have emailed already the liaisons from each of those boards. I do know the mayor's a little backed up on appointments because we do have an appointment from MAPC already, but they haven't gone approved by council yet. Oh. So still waiting to hear back from a few other boards to see if they have an interested person that's willing to come and be part of SIB. So that's just kind of an update on that. If you were to look on onboard and look at our seats and stuff, we are pretty vacant right now because of that. But I am working on getting those seats filled.
Some other boards are the same way. Yeah. Because I looked up some other ones too, and I'm like, there's nobody on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it has to do with also because everyone was up for reappointment basically in March, and they had to fill some seats, and some people turned out. And then because I do believe the council's a little behind right now on approving appointments, from my understanding.
Is there a way? I mean, we probably have to have bylaws change, but is there a way to not have everybody all at the same time?
Yes. So yeah, I'm working because of this whole issue, because the lawyers hadn't seen it either, for whenever this term is up for everybody. So next year in March, we'd like to take something to council to change up ordinance to whether it be, changing the first term so it'll line up with everybody else, whether it be, whatever the solution might be to it. We do plan on changing ordinance so that this doesn't happen next time.
Right.
Yeah, but I just wanted to give you guys all an update on that. Any other questions regarding seat appointments? Okay. I guess I will go ahead and just move on to our next item then. Approval of minutes. I did update the minutes. I'm so sorry. I forgot to add you on there. So I made that edit and added you on there. Yeah. But that's the only edit unless anyone has any other comments or concerns about the minutes. Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes with the correction that.
Okay.
I was gonna say somebody online could do it. Got like 3 members online, sitting there quietly.
Does anyone want to second the motion?
I'll second it since they're all gonna be quiet.
Okay. All those who approve, say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Gonna go with that's approved then. Okay. So moving on to the next item, I will have to refresh my screen first. Okay, so we do have some CIP funding, which is capital improvements funds, and we have about 835,000 right now. And so the city is hoping to use that for building energy improvements. So these are the few projects that have been chosen. So as you can see, libraries, gym, rec centers, and then the street corridor. And all these projects would total 835,000. So these are our estimates, might come in above, might come in below. So the scope might have to change, but it's to fix like LEDs, those kind of things, just to make them more energy efficient.
That's vital. We have to do that.
Have
to do that.
And
what's the Bailey corridor?
It's a street, Bailey Street corridor.
But
South of Lincoln,
west. I know where Bailey is, but like how big long is the corridor? And where is it from and to?
I'm not sure about.
It's adjacent to the railroad, the Kano Railroad, just on the north side. And I think it's a bike path or a ped path that I understand.
Okay.
I'm not sure how long of a trail it is.
Okay, so we're talking about a trail, not the actual street, because I grew up near Bailey too, so I know where it is.
Okay, yeah.
But, obviously not wherever this is. So this is a bike trail, basically.
It's close to the Lincoln Street Dam,
Okay.
just south of there.
And so we do have one estimate. They're still working on getting the other estimates of how much like the savings would be. So for the Bailey corridor, with the 95 existing fixtures, converting those to solar LED, that would save us about $13,000 to $14,000 a year. And it would also help avoid some copper theft. So that's kind of why this one was chosen as one of those to prioritize. The other ones are still coming in to see how much that would save. But the reason lighting was chosen is because it is one of the highest ROI, the projects that give us the highest ROIs within the 5 to 7 years range usually. And especially with the Bailey corridor, as I mentioned, it helps prevent copper theft. And then for the rec centers and gyms, this was a priority given to us by parks versus replacing the sports field lighting. Those high wattage fixtures also have quick paybacks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But it's more expensive to do.
yes. Yes, so this is gonna be going to council, we imagine the 6th or the 8th of August.
Okay. 6th or the 13th, yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I said the 8th and 9th, yes, I'm sorry, August 6th or 13th. They're still working on when they would, making sure they have all the information before they take it to council. So this is gonna be happening through Public Works. We would love to have your support on it. So if you'd like to vote to approve this and to just give support to council, that'd be great. If you have any more questions and want to wait off, that's also an option, so.
We've spoken about this in the past. This is nothing new for this board. We've talked about this and how vital it is to get everything switched out to LED. So I would make a motion that we go ahead and do whatever you need to do to get the proposal put together and then present it to the city council as soon as possible.
Okay, perfect.
I'd second that motion.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, I'm gonna say motion approved. And then next we have the discussion on the SIB chair. So as Laura had spoken previously, she's concerned with how much time she has available to be able to really dedicate to this board and to be the chair and be here every day,
Right.
especially with her changing position at work and stuff. So she felt it better to step back, still continue on the board, but have someone else as chair. And then we also do need a new vice chair since Russell is no longer able to be on the board. So I guess if you guys would like to discuss that.
Russell's got something to say.
Yes.
Can somebody call up the bylaws?
Yes.
I'm just curious about something in regards to this.
Russell, are you termed out from the bike ped board then?
Yeah,
Okay,
How long is a bike ped appointment?
I was on the bike bed board for 9 years,
Okay, so it's like a 4-year.
since 2015.
Because this board is only 2 years.
Yeah, they have 4-year appointments.
This should probably.
Or maybe
be
they were
longer
two,
than that.
I don't know, I think the rules changed.
So you were appointed 4 or 5 times?
Well, I mean, I came in as, to replace Jane as the District 5 rep under Longwell.
We should
And then
be right.
And then Brian reappointed me. And then reappointed me again. Is it 2 years or was it 4? I feel like it's 4. But maybe it was only 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I ended up being on there a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I turned out in March.
Did that with the Wichita Sedgwick County Access Advisory Board, which now has nobody on it. I wonder if it's full.
Apparently, have you checked out the new Wichita document project? Bunch of people, this is in the Kansas Leadership Center, Beacon's involved, they're sending people out to all public meetings to take notes. There
Okay.
was somebody who was at the last what's the I mean, it was just, we have somebody who's supposed to be on the board from this other board, it's the civil rights.
Oh, that was Jennifer.
Yeah, that's Jennifer.
Okay, what's the actual name of that board?
So diversity inclusion,
Diversity inclusion, is it just diversity inclusion or?
civil rights advisory board.
That right, diversity, inclusion, civil rights. Anyway, people showed up to attend the meeting. No one who was actually on the board was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have the both board and SIP bylaws pulled.
Okay, you found the bylaws? Can you
Yes.
put them up on the screen? Is that possible or is that?
Yes, I can do that. I think this one's for general boards, and then this other one is specifically for SIP.
Okay, so I'm just curious, what does it actually say about appointing a chair?
I don't think it has, I think I had to look into this previously, I think that's maybe under the general.
Saw a reference to the presiding officer, but it didn't say anything about it.
I don't think it's.
These are not sustainability, or are they?
No, this is just the general
Right,
board.
because the sustainability board,
Go for that.
it didn't have any specific detail about appointments or anything like that.
No, the sustainability board did.
Well, then where was it?
I think I found it.
Appointments from 7 different
Oh,
city
but
council
further
members
down.
on 7 different boards.
By electing on or before July 1st of each year, the board shall meet and organize its membership by electing a chairperson or vice chairperson. The terms of such offices shall be for a period not to exceed 2 years.
By electing a chairperson or a vice chairperson.
And
It doesn't say they have to be members of the board.
I don't disagree with you.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like in the US Constitution does not specify that the Speaker of the House of Representatives has to be a member of the House of Representatives. It always has been,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have to be. because the Constitution doesn't say so, the bylaws don't say so.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to find a new chair and a vice chair, I just wanted to put that out there. According to the bylaws, apparently,
Anybody.
it does not actually have to be a member of the board.
Okay.
I could see problems with the chairperson not being a member of the board, because I mean, a lot of the other things that would mean that the chairperson couldn't vote. There'd be probably other problems as well. However, you should probably just wanted to make you aware of the fact bylaws do not say that the chairperson and the vice chair have to be members of the board.
Okay. And now is when we have to decide, because July 1st is next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't know if they're referring to. I guess I don't know when Laura was elected as chair, if she even finished up her 2-year term.
I don't,
Or I wonder if this is referring
well,
to.
she hasn't, because she's only been on here about 3 years like the rest of us. 2 years like the rest of us, 3 years now.
So I wasn't supposed to exceed 2 years.
Will it be 3 years in July? When
Well,
did
it was
when did the
July, it
board
was
come?
December. The board started in December. They counted that as our first year.
Okay, so 2.5 years. Anyway, proceed with the agenda. That was just the only thing I wanted to point out.
So are you volunteering to fill one of those seats?
I think that it would probably be unethical for someone who's not on the board to present themselves to the board as the candidate. However, I'm not sure there would be any problem in a reverse direction. If a member of the board suggested someone who wasn't a member of the board.
Hey Russell, it's James. So it sounds like you want to be.
I want people to be aware of the possibility, because I was imagining that there might be a serious hangup in choosing a chair of the board. If the board approached me about either position, I would give it serious consideration, leaning towards acceptance.
I think I hear you loud and clear. So thank you for saying that. And another clarifying question: what is the time crunch for July 1st selecting a board chair?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my fault. I don't think I shared my screen. In ordinance, it says before July 1st of, I think the year the terms expire is my understanding. So, but Laura has already been chair for more than 2 years, so I guess we would have to choose a new chair anyways.
Just out of discussion, James, you've attended every board meeting that I've ever been at. Would you be in consideration of being a chairman?
I would want to understand what those responsibilities entail, and full disclosure, I have been accepted a little bit of a promotion at my job, and so it makes me question if I could fully commit to what it deserves. I'm flat. First of all, I'm flattered. Thank you. My gut reaction, since I'm still talking, is it would be nice if the person who was our board chair was on our board, because as we've kind of gotten into a little bit of a groove over the last year, I feel like we've kind of set that. It would be awkward to have us led by someone not on the board. And where I'm going with this, without seeing that ordinance and fully understanding the consequences if we didn't hit that, and I would like to preferably maybe go a month without a board chair, in the encouragement of getting Russell back on the committee in some capacity, so then we could do this the right way, is how I really feel.
What vacancies are there on the board right now?
The Mayor's Youth Council, Bike Ped, Diversity Inclusion Civil Rights Advisory Board, and Transit Advisory Board.
And planning,
And well, we have an appointment for that. It just hasn't been approved. Council yet.
it's still vacant.
Yeah.
Are all of the district appointees in place?
Yes.
You don't have to be from that district to be appointed.
I know, I was just wondering, but I mean, if they've used up all their slots, then. they've used up all their slots.
Well, I had heard that Lauren also has gotten a promotion and she might not be able to continue. So District 6 might be open. I don't know, Lauren, if that's true or not, but that's what I had heard.
I think,
I could probably,
I think Russell would make an excellent chairman. I just know that I think, in my opinion, the chairman needs to be a part of the official membership of the board.
and I should probably also put out there that I think that there's a decent chance that if the board decided to do this, which I think the bylaws technically would allow them to do, that if anybody on the city council actually looked at it, you know, there's a decent chance that they blow their stack and say, you can't appoint someone who's not on the board, and they have to rewrite the bylaws. and whatnot. But
They approved the bylaw.
I know, I mean, it's possible that they'll say, hey,
They may accept it.
that's what it says, that's what it says, but I wouldn't put it past certain members of the board, certain members of the city council to say, no, don't pull a fast one. Anyway, thank you, James. I think, well, no, I'm an observer here, I'm not on the board. As an observer, I would say, I thought James's suggestion is a good one. It's summer. Come on, Liz is awesome. You guys can easily work a month or maybe even two, you know, through August, you know, without an officially appointed chair. In my observation.
I'd be fine with deferring it for a month until we can get those 4 or 5 vacant positions filled, so there's more people to, you know,
To participate on the voting.
participate, yeah.
So I will say the only, so I will start with the responsibilities of kind of what the chair does, since James kind of asked about that, and because one of these responsibilities might be an issue with deferring it further. Besides running the meeting, that I'm aware of, the only other responsibility is to help set the agenda. So usually I run the agenda by Laura. And then if she's okay with it, that's when I send it to you guys, get it published by this city manager's office, kind of all that jazz. So that would be the only issue, unless you guys are okay with me kind of just setting the agenda, not getting it approved, or just sending it to everybody. And then I guess my only concern is the approval of the agenda to be set for next month.
Has Laura ever said, no, let's not do something that you've suggested? That you have
No, it's
considered?
usually things that have come up and stuff. So no, I don't think she's ever said, no, let's not do that. It's not like I'm just choosing random things.
I know.
What was that, Lauren? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm on the road, but
Oh,
if we just somebody to fill the void, I'd be willing to step up in that role just to get us through the next few months, and knowing that we'd probably make a change, and I'm fine with that. But if we have to have somebody, I'd be willing to fill that void.
And what is the criteria for selecting the chair and vice chair for this? Like by voting, by?
It's by voting. So I'm not sure if you have to have like first and second motion. I would assume we did, and then just voting. And then if it's a majority, then that's how the chair gets elected.
Okay. Thank you.
I kind of think we should select a chairman before we do a vice chairman or vice chairperson, you know, so.
I mean, you could hold off on the vice chairman until after it doesn't have to be today as well.
Okay.
One thing that I literally just thought of is if this position became, we've been in this position before where we've had to elect a new chair, not in cycle. So if Lauren or whomever wanted to do this and like our fearless leader before her decided she couldn't uphold those responsibilities, then we could theoretically do this again. And that would allow us to hit the July 1 timeframe. That would allow Russell to come back online in an official capacity in some shape or form. And then maybe we could reevaluate responsibilities at that time to see and set the long-term leader for the group.
Part of my concern, as the three of you who are in the industries know, is that I'm already concerned about having you on the board at all, but taking on a leadership position when you're here representing your companies rather than your districts concerns me.
And I hear you. In my new position, I oversee energy efficiency programs, I oversee utility assistance in 3 different states across our territory. And I can only speak for myself in this case, having worked through a variety of different states now, that one of the positions that we take, at least at Black Hills Energy, is to be an energy educator. And in that process, we see opportunities to truly make a meaningful difference in a community's sustainability goals. And so I am on this position, rightfully appointed in the same way we all have been, to improve the town in which I live. And I feel strongly about that.
I understand. I'm not suggesting that you guys would do anything that would harm the board. But I also know that you're here because you're keeping an eye on us. You don't want anything to happen like tried to happen in Lawrence, where the legislature stepped in and said, no, you cannot ban natural gas in new builds. So that, I mean, it's all part of a thing to me in my mind, but I'm not the only vote.
At this time, I'd be, as a member, I'd be more comfortable with deferring it, 30 to 60 days until we get those memberships filled and we have a complete board. Russell may be able to rejoin us, and then we can appoint a chair and a vice chair as a complete group. I think right now we just have a limited number of members right now. We just need to work on rebuilding again.
I like that, this will make a solid decision to have full members in this board, Otherwise, we still lack, different people inputs.
We've never had a full board because we've never been able to fill the transit spot. We've never had that.
Okay.
But now we're going to keep transit and bike ped separate. Is that what the city decided? They were going to just make one department?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
That was
that would
an
not make any
idea
sense
that
at all.
was floated some months ago.
Yeah, it was so
but
stupid.
Nothing ever came.
That was so stupid.
Well, people didn't like it on either the transit or the bike ped
Of course.
side. So
Yeah, okay. So as long as that's still good, we got 2 different spots there. So who wants to do bike ped again? Do you know somebody that wants to take that on?
I was gonna show up at their meeting and I've already told Alan that if he could figure out some sort of way to appoint a provisionary member of the bike ped board to the sustainability integration board, I'd be willing to go with that,
Okay.
but I don't know, his hands may be tied. Then again, the language of the bylaws might again not say that the like transit, bike ped, et cetera, have to actually appoint a member of their boards to go and attend.
But
Yes,
you
I-
still have to go to their board meetings too, so
I
that you
still
can
do.
report out. Okay.
Anyway,
So, yeah, we'd have to see how that falls out, but.
probably can't count on it.
So I will say for the actual SIB bylaws, it says, in addition to the members appointed by city council, each of the following boards and commissions shall appoint a representative to the board.
Appoint a representative.
So not like necessarily a member.
Thank you for checking that, Liz.
But if you guys would like, if the general consensus is to defer it a couple more months, that's no problem. I guess and I guess I can keep running the agenda by Laura if that's what you guys would like. Because again, that's my only concern with making sure the agenda's being able to be set in a timely manner for you guys.
I like that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And what?
I'm glad that started.
Let me cut.
I may have just taken more.
No, it sounded like it was gonna say recording stopped and then recording is in progress. For some reason it kind
I
of.
don't expect what you can get from this IT stuff, you know. I had a meeting today, took me a few minutes, you know, to get some media in the right place. So.
Yeah.
So then, would you guys like to table the item then?
Let's do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and one of the last things we have for discussion items is presentation on sustainable solar powered water treatment and desalination opportunities and challenges. And our member is going to present, so I'm going to take a second to pull up that presentation.
Yes.
By the way, before I forget, James,
Yeah, Russell.
congratulations on the promotion.
This is the way to control the science or how?
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And
That's okay.
I'm still a Wichita guy, so but thank you very much.
Good. Yeah. The last one is.
There it is.
Oh, ship tank. I thought that was Star Trek.
This one, the presentation?
Yes.
Make sure you share
Are
it.
you sharing?
Yeah. Just want to make sure I have the right one. You want to?
What I can be here.
Wherever you'd like. Just, yeah, that might be better, so it's closer to a microphone if you.
Yeah. So yeah, today I'm trying to share with you one of the most important topics about sustainability with the water, you know. And I will pick only one component, is mainly about using renewable energy to have a sustainable synergy between the environment and between the water, you know. So the picture you see here in the front slide, I created this one, you know, using my AI tools, you know. You can see here a good synergy between the water treatment and between the renewable energy. You can see from the marine life how the water is clear, you know, and everyone is happy. As usually in the chemical plants and water treatment plants, use a lot of chemicals, you know, for treatment. That's why you can see a lot of damage to the marine life, you know. But as you can see here, I'm relying on this how it looks like, you know. That's why you see this guy on the top right side. He has kind of a bend, so it is a picture, you know. It's not reality.
Is there a way to remove that taskbar at the top? Is that- No.
I think in more, it was in more, I think it was video panel maybe.
Is it his height? Oh, here we go.
Thank you.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
better. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. So moving forward, let me highlight the solar energy. It doesn't move, Liz. Can you activate the screen?
Oh, it's because it was, yeah.
Oh, because it was just.
Okay. So as you can see here on the left side, this is a water stress map as a projection data for 2050, you know. So you can see here 5 categories of the water stress, starting from low water stress up to extremely high water stress, you know. So the majority of the water stress areas right now, from high to extremely high in the Middle East area where you have the North Africa and all these countries, you know, with this black color, you know. And the water stress is defined as a ratio of the human water demand to the water availability in terms of the fresh and surface water, you know. And if you see here, by 2050, around 51 countries will experience high to extremely high water stress. And in the United States, by 2050, we will be in the zone of medium to high, you know. But this based on the assumption that we don't have any more industries or businesses or, you know, stable, but this is not expected. It will be getting higher and higher, you know. So we are not in a good shape, you know. But today, in June 2024, around 2 billion people right now, they have lack access to clean water, you know. And this is a major concern, you know. And on the top of that, you have pollution, you have aging infrastructure, you know, cannot handle this new capacities, you know, and the networks and all this stuff. And also you have inefficient ways for irrigations, you know. And also I will mention today, even if you have a nice irrigation system, this will build the salt on the soil and this elevates the TDS of the water. So a lot of issues compound the main problem, you know. However, these countries start to tap into unconventional water sources, you know. As you can see, new concepts called desalination. So people, they have access to the salty water like oceans and Gulf areas, and they start to turn the salty water into fresh water by something called desalination concept. It might be thermal or it might be membrane-based technologies, you know. And people in South America, you don't have this infrastructure and the money to do that. They try to have something like fog harvesting, you know, on the top of the mountains. They have this special type of cloth as a certain way. So when the fog comes, start to condense on this one and getting down by the gravity, and there's a fresh water, you know. Some people relying on the rainwater harvesting, you know, which is something we should do. And I know here also in Kansas, our lakes is a big rainwater harvesting, you know, for that. And also wastewater reclamation. So we try to get all this wastewater in a centralized way, make a treatment and get it back in a utility purposes, you know. And also one component I will highlight today is how we can use solar energy to tap into these sources, you know. So the good news for all these countries I mentioned, they have around 51 countries lacking access to safe water. They have problem with high to extremely high. They have access to high intensity solar energy, you know. That's why you can see this type of overlapping, you know. So in the United States, we have access to high intensity solar energy. We can leverage this one to turn into a solutions and sustainable solution for treating these wastewaters. The first technology I need to highlight with you as a first example is called nanophotonics solar membrane distillation, you know. So the concept here is relying on the solar energy, and they are using something called membranes, you know. Membranes, it is ultra thin layer, something like this, 100 microns or less. It's a porous material. This material is hydrophobic, you know, meaning that it doesn't like the liquid, like vapor, you know. So some people, some researchers start to make laminations with nanomaterials, nanophotonics materials on these membranes. That's why I see like nanophotonic layer. And when this layer sees the sunlight acting as a hot islands, so start to make localized heating on the membrane and start to turn the water to be a vapor. And the vapor only is a clean water. That's why it's called hydrophobic, which allow vapor to go to the other side, you know. This is like a startup company. I helped this company years ago. And right now they have their commercial product in New Mexico, as you can see on the right side. In this parabolic system, they are concentrating the sunlight so we can eliminate any cloudy conditions. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I mean, maybe this is the next slide, but
Yes.
I mean, wouldn't that, I mean, if you're turning, unusable water to vapor and, drawing from the vapor, the usable water.
Yes.
Doesn't that be behind a lot of waste?
It will get a lot of waste behind that. It's called, yes, that's right.
Okay,
So we have our,
that, I mean.
yes, this is a concept. You have usually two streams coming out. You have fresh, clean water coming out, and you have concentrated salt or wastewater behind, But there is a term, you may hear it in the news, called like ZLD, zero liquid discharge. So people right now try to push all the wastewater in and have two streams, liquid, clean, and salt or solid, It's called ZLD. So yeah, this technology one of the solution for ZLD, zero liquid discharge. You feed produced water, you feed wastewater, you feed whatever you have it, and it can go up to saturation. So it's very effective. That's why the concept of solar concentration is very applicable to solutions like that.
And I share that concern that Russell has about what you do with the waste.
Yes.
One of the things they're finding out with desalination on the oceans is that when that gets put back in, it is very bad for anything down there.
The answer, yes.
So that is a concern.
Yes, the answer, yes. There is a concern behind that, But in the meantime, if you have a proper and sustainable treatment, this might be a good solution, So you can use this waste to extract some minerals. Like, for example, the seawater is rich in lithium, So if you concentrate the seawater, takes the product with the fresh water and have concentrated brine left behind. This one rich in lithium, It might high concentration more than what you can see from the geothermal brine from California, So a lot of minerals inside this waste. So that's why let's turn the waste into a product, by using like direct lithium extraction, getting the barium and other elements, So I will not call it a waste, for now.
And all that could be done with solar power as well.
Yes, you can do that. The other concept is called RO, or reverse osmosis technology. This usually, if you go to Walmart and other places, they have under sink RO system, It is a pressure-driven system. This pressure-driven system also rely on a membrane, If you see on the top left side, you have salt water on the left side, where you apply pressure to force the liquid to go through these membranes, leaving behind all the salt and the impurities behind this, But if you can make this sustainable by applying pressure using solar energy, by how we can use the solar power pumps, and these pumps can start to apply pressure and force it to the other side. And this one of the project also I participated before to make this off-grid water treatment, especially in remote areas where people don't have access to the electrical grid, So this is like a sustainable solution for turning underground brackish water into fresh water, usable and applicable to the community, A new idea, also people try to have something called like a floating desalination platform, It is like an island, as you can see over here. It is similar to people who are making drilling for the oil in the oceans, But in the meantime, you can do something like that, turning this into clean water, especially for islands. People have a lot of activities. And also there is no need here for pumping network, We have submersible pump it to the station using wind energy, renewable energy, and you can turn this water into clean water, This is something called like solar still, I do recommend people to have this on the roofs in their houses, From the first impression on the right side, you can see this is solar panels. No, this is not a solar panels. This is like a solar still, Solar still is similar to the solar panels. The difference, it has two frames. Top frame, mainly like a transparent window. As you can see in the glass cover over here, maybe like a transparent window or polycarbonate. This one has a good light transmission. And underneath you have black material, absorbing material, and you feed water from the top by the gravity. And when the water starts to move through this blacking material by the heat, start to evaporate and condense on this glass cover, and you have two streams out, one stream as a product and the other stream getting back, I saw this a lot of many times in Asian countries where you don't have access to the fresh water, relying on this for the sustainable water, to help the community to get fresh water, as you can see over here. So you can see here around 5 solar stills. And if you pay attention for the right picture, there is a small solar panel in the middle, this is mainly to run the pump, you know. Some people make a gravity flow from the top, and some people using kind of a solar pump, you know, to do this. There is a big city right now is building, it's called Neom. This is the most sustainable city under construction right now, you know. And in this city is located in Saudi Arabia right now. They are trying to have sustainability everywhere, you know, for water, for energy, for transportation, you know. And they have something called a solar dome, you know. Solar dome, as you can see here, is mainly a dome in a sphere shape, half of the shape above ground and the other half underground. And where you are feeding the water to this sphere and start to reflect the sunlight. So when the water coming in start to evaporate and getting the vapor and condense and getting out, you know. I have a video. I'm not sure I can. Can you try this from your side?
Yeah. Could you?
I can skip it and you can click it. It doesn't run? Okay, not a problem. Let me go back to the presentation mode. Thank you. So I was trying to, this is like visualization, you know, how it looks like getting the water from the sea through transparent pipeline. When you have a transparent pipeline, you expose us to the sun, so the sun starts to heat up, you know, getting to this dome. And this dome, in the middle of the dome, you have a lot of metal frames, which are acting as a heat absorber. So the heat can be evaporated the water out. This is like well established, you know, people can get solar power pumps. So you don't rely on the traditional fuels to run this like gas or oil or all this stuff, you know. This is something very interesting, you know, and this might be something we might consider for our city. As you know, for the surface water, when you have a sunlight, you have a possibility for water evaporation, right? And according to my calculations, if we have around 8 sun hours per day with an intensity of 1000 watt per square meter, you know, you have a possibility to evaporate around 3 gallons of water per 11 square feet, you know. For this surface area we have right now, we can get 6 to 7 gallons of water, you know, per day as a water losses, you know. So people, as you can see from the top right side, start to establish something called floating solar panels, you know. So this will minimize the water evaporation. And in the meantime, you can start to generate electricity, you know. So according to the study, if the United States, we cover 30% of our water surfaces, this will be equivalent to generate electricity in terms of 1900 terawatt, you know. And this will save around 5.5 trillion gallons of water a year, you know. Huge water we are losing every year, you know. Some of this water get back as a rain, and some of this water go to ocean losses. We don't know how to catch it back, you know. So this is applicable, you know. If you see the news here for Wichita, for Cheney Lake, you see from time to the time we highlight this. We have drop in the level of the water, you know. Why? Maybe other reasons, but one of the reasons is water evaporation, you know. So as a committee here, do you see like floating solar panels may make a difference? From my perspective, expense, I will say yes, you know. If we have something like that, we can generate electricity. If you can imagine, if this is a lake on the bottom side, you know, and have this solar panels on the top of this, you know, you can have electricity to light the entire zone around it. And in the meantime, we can have batteries to store this energy for other purposes and also save this water, you know. Another problem I found here in Wichita and in south central of Kansas is a salt accumulation, you know. For the irrigation purposes, people try to get the water from underground. Fresh water, low salinity, 500 ppm is good, you know. But over time, what happens to this water? Water coming from underground to the ground surface, part of the water consumed by the crops and the other part evaporates. When the water evaporates, leaving behind the heavy parts, which is the salt. And over time, the salt accumulate, makes the soil salty. It might not be in a good shape. And over time, the salt will find a way to get back to underground. Given that, if you see also some people did detailed study, and then they found in Wichita and the surrounding areas, there is known areas where salt contaminated the underground. So meaning that we are moving from fresh water to brackish water, you know, and dealing with brackish water is so expensive. As in this case, you have to go to desalination, you know. Desalination meaning that you have to turn salty water to fresh water, you know. So given all of that, you know, I think from my perspective, this is the time now to pay more attention for water conservation, you know, and getting ready for brackish water. We may not have any more fresh water, you know. I'm talking about 20 years from now. I'm not talking about our generation, but future generations, you know. So we may see that based on the results, you know. I propose 9 plans, you know, up to your input, you know, to make sustainable water in terms of water energy sustainability. Number one, I'm hoping by 2030 in Wichita City, we can have a coverage for 30% of the open water surfaces like rivers, streams, reservoirs, lakes, using solar panels. This can generate electricity and protect the water. And also we can start to empower our water treatment plants with the solar power. We have a lot of mechanical equipment or technical equipments, pumps, blowers, and other equipments need electrical energy, so we can minimize the load. So I'm hoping 50%, you know, the reduction. And also we can start to leverage the wind energy, try to have high efficient measures, you know, and the monitoring system. And also we try to go with green infrastructure like green roofs and walls, and all this stuff can make sustainable buildings, and also harvesting the rainwater. Battery storage, as I mentioned, for this project, if you have coverage for a certain lake, you have extra energy, you can get it back to the grid, or you have batteries, you know, you can rely on that, you know. And also, which is really important, is the community engagement, you know. A lot of land here, privately owned by people, so we need to educate the level of awareness about all these parameters. And also, we may start to get some help from funding agencies and other entities like Department of Energy, National Science Foundations, Gates Foundations, and others, you know, to get some help, you know, to push it forward. There are a lot of R&D technologies still on the table, you know. They need some money to push it higher, you know, using nanophotonic materials and others to harvest the sunlight and also make sustainable technologies. So yeah, this is my quick presentation, you know. I hope it is helpful, you know, and this is my action. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is also like, I love to play with AI tools, you know. So I created these pictures for our city. One on the left side, you can see here the Epic Center and how the buildings surrounding by this solar panels, this windmills, you know, people leaning more to sustainable transportation, you know, green everywhere. And on the right side, having a lot of solar islands, you know, which is good also for the community and also good for water conservation and great, you know. So yeah, I hope this is helpful.
One of the big problems that we have, especially on river, is I'm sure there's salt in there too, but
Yes.
we have such chemical contamination from fertilizers upstream in farm fields and from the people who irrigate like crazy and fertilize like crazy in the city of Wichita when it's not necessary.
This is a big problem.
Does that help? Is there a way to include something like trying to remove some of those chemicals while you're doing this desalination?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is
It'd be nice if the river didn't have to be brown all the time.
Yeah, when I walk through Arkansas River, I feel bad about the water, you know.
Yeah.
And also, I do usually we measure the health of the water by something called like ORP. ORP, the higher ORP, it's called like oxidation reduction potential parameter, you know. The higher the better, meaning that you have more dissolved oxygen inside the water, meaning that healthy water, you know.
Right.
I do expect this is very, very low.
I'm sure it is.
You know,
there's not very many fish that survive in it.
I'm afraid about people making fish and take this fish home, you know. I did hear also
one per month out of this river.
Yeah, let me share something with you. From my previous experience, the most dangerous part of the fish is the brain, the head. All the heavy metals accumulate in this portion, you know, which is making toxic, you know. And if you hear about something called like PFAS, did you hear about PFAS?
Absolutely.
It's like forever chemical, you know. The good news for this chemical, we can take it off by the activated carbon. But in the meantime, it's very hard to detect where we target this chemical, you know? And it's coming from different practices, like as you mentioned, you know? Yeah, that's why I said, like, when I said like efficient monitoring, this is really important, you know? We need to highlight the zone, as you said, no, I have rain off of chemicals in this zone. So let's make some measurements for these areas. We have a solution, you know? If you have a problem, you have a solution, you know?
Right. And that's something that we need to tackle first,
Yes.
is to just get some measurements to find out what's
Exactly,
in our water,
exactly.
what we need to get out of our water.
Exactly, yes.
They don't do that.
Let's do it. This is
We
start, you
need
know?
to do that.
Let's make like a white paper, lift it up, you know, to like city members. We are proposing this, you know, we can start with these zones, have PFAS measurements, have ORB for the river, how we can improve it, you know. So from my experience, every problem has a solution, you know, but resources is a big challenge to make it.
Yeah.
But at least knowing the problem is the start of the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why when I wrote this 9 action items, I was trying to have this, you know, as a draft, you know, not like an order, let's do this, but as a draft, we can elaborate more, you know. It can take some time till you have a solid one. We can target some zones, you know, like for example, you can like this lake, you know, let's have like a partial coverage for the lake, you know, as a demonstration, you know, and demonstrating something like that is a good marketing material, you know, for the education purposes, you know. I can have for sure everywhere, you know. No one reads, you know. But if you have like a standalone video like this, why are doing this? You know, might be easy for marketing. Yeah.
It's the initial outlay that I can imagine is going to be difficult to get this set up.
Well, okay, so
Let's just start, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, initial outlay in terms of obviously, okay, so like going with point number 1, I mean, you know, where do you purchase the panels? Who's going to be installing the panels? What's the supply chain? What's the cost? I mean, all of that obviously is a huge obstacle to overcome in order to get, you know, the ball even rolling. The thing is that, look, your point about brackish water is very true and becoming more true. I mean, I don't know, those of you that are Kansas natives, possibly you've just kind of internalized this in one way or another, but for those of us who moved to Kansas from elsewhere, you know, it's a pretty quick realization that lakes in Kansas struggle.
I agree.
And in the 18 years that I've lived here in Wichita, I mean, fishing restrictions, swimming restrictions, boating restrictions. It seems to me that like even the people that have nothing to compare it with, they've come to recognize that an awful lot of the standing water in Kansas just really struggles to be available for you know, human, you know, recreational use.
Yes.
I mean, you Cheney Lake right now, if it's, I just feel like you could probably go to people in Cheney and say, you know, all that lake that you can't use, what if we did this?
Exactly.
It'll lower your electrical bills. You go out to Lake Afton, which, I mean, I don't know what the current regs are, but it's possible that more than half of Lake Afton can't be used now. Well, then, I mean, I guess I'm thinking about in terms of just how you would message this. And I feel like that there are elements of your plan, number 1, definitely, and some of the others probably also, where conditions are already at the point where it might not be hard, you know, assuming we can get around all the other obstacles and we can actually show how it can pencil out.
Yeah.
I feel like it might not be too hard to go to people and say, you already know that this is a resource that you're not going to use.
Exactly.
You're not going to eat the fish that you catch. You're not going to go swimming there. You're not going to take your boat there. You already know that it's not being used.
I agree.
So why not do this?
Yeah.
I feel like that there might be at least a slight advantage in messaging because people recognize already, just how much work it is to try to make it useful.
Yeah.
Already. So anyway, just a thought.
And the main problem, as you mentioned, for the lakes and the Kansas, I was looking for some web searches. Some of them disappeared,
Yeah.
We don't have it.
Yeah.
And some of them, if you go to the west side of the state, the level of the TDS is getting higher and higher, And this is, I don't like to go to brackish water, as I mentioned. Brackish water is so expensive, it will not raise the cost of treatment, the cost of consequences. The food and all this stuff will getting higher and higher, So the farmers will not pay from their pockets, they have to pay from different stuff, So that's why if we start to map this, demonstrate something, make a plan, this might be a solution,
A lot of the water near Wichita is not actually in Wichita.
Mhm.
Yark River is, Cheney Lake is not, Lake Afton is not.
So this is a Sedgwick County thing, this is a Reno County thing. This is-
Yeah, but we are the Wichita Sustainability Board.
But you start
So-
trying to make the message.
We can, well, yeah, but if
Awareness,
there's some way that we can work on this on the Arkansas River,
Yeah,
because our Arkansas River is also quite low.
yes.
And it is in horrible condition.
And
Horrible
this one,
condition.
salinity is high and
Yeah.
this level, see?
Well, but a lot of it's coming from rural areas too.
Yes,
Um,
that's why, and the potential area is growing and growing, And
Yeah.
it lacks some measurements, that's why it might be worse than what I'm presenting here.
but that might be the ideal place to start
Sure.
because it is so, it's a known contamination.
Yes, that's right.
But how do we approach this so that we can actually move forward on it? Or is this just a presentation? Another
I would like
presentation?
to take one of these action items, if you are okay with that proposal, pay more attention for this one, make it solid, draft a white paper, discuss it, and then refine it. And at the end of the day, we may raise it up and see how we can fund it.
Yeah,
Something like that,
if you could,
make like a front end planning, this is
we
my,
have to put all of that together and
Yes.
then bring it to the council
exactly.
so that they can see, here's how it can be done and this is how it's gonna work and how it's not gonna cost a fortune.
Yeah, my understanding as a committee members here, we have to highlight something like that from my previous experience with other board members. Make a draft white paper, make action item plans, timeline, expected budget for this one, like a front end planning, left it to the decision makers. They decide, to take the next step. But as a committee members, we highlight the problem, we propose the solutions, and what is the time frame for that,
Mhm.
Maybe I'm wrong, but this is my understanding,
Yeah, well, and also how can it be paid for?
Yes, that's why I said like getting funding from other
Yeah,
agencies,
yeah,
Like a lot of this project, like the first project, for example, this one is funded by the Department of Energy, I spent maybe $2 million, to go to this scale.
okay,
This one is funded by the USAID,
okay,
maybe $500,000,
okay,
and same for this one from Europe countries, they funded this one. So all of this like mainly come from non-profit organization to push it higher, But at least we have the ground,
Mhm.
We are not inventing something new. We
right,
try to leverage the available and established resources,
Mhm.
And as we all agree right now, highlighting the problem is a solution as a first step. I'm not sure, let's or the team here, should we highlight action item, I can share the slides with you. You can take your time to digest it, and
Yeah,
we
if
can
you-
vote on which one is higher priority, something like that, Oh, this might be a short-term solution, this might be a long-term solution, something like that, so we can have good visualization for the action plans.
If you'd like to email me this, I
Sure,
can
yeah.
email it out to everybody else.
I will
They
do
have
that.
that copy.
I will do that.
I have a question. Is this actually done somewhere close by? If I want to say, hey, I want to travel to see this.
Sure, yes,
Is there a place?
yes. So the one, yes, they have allocations for everyone, but not in the Kansas.
Well, I figured so.
No.
So
We are away from this problem right now, but within 20 years, we'll see brackish water desalination, you know. We will see kind of extensive treatment, you know, but right now we are away, you know, on the border, I have to say that. But if you need to see that, the majority of this in the areas
where's it at?
like this technology in New Mexico right now,
Okay,
and this one in the western deserts of Egypt,
okay.
and this one is the Mediterranean Sea, this one in Asian countries, you know, but
Are you
this,
saying Eastern Kansas?
no,
No, what are you saying?
this Asian.
Asian, oh, okay.
The company is called FP Cubed, you know.
Mm.
FP Cubed is located in Australia, you know.
Mm.
They deploy this for helping communities, you know. They lacking access to clean water, lacking access to the grid structure, you know. Yes, and also very.
I mean, like
Yeah.
40 years ago in Boy Scouts, an extremely primitive soils. I mean,
Yeah.
the principles are not new, you know.
Right.
You get the glass or the plastic.
You can make it at
it's
home, you
not
know?
black, I mean, it just.
Yeah,
It is very simple to make it at home, you know. Get a fresh water on your road. And the design is very easy. If you Google that, you know, ask your AI tool, they will give you the design, you know. This one in Neom in a country in Saudi Arabia. So this is a big project, you know. This is everywhere, you know. So
well,
This is-
How about here?
the top one in India, the one in the bottom, I'm not sure, but it might be in California. I was reading some news about California trying to host something like this for water conservation.
They need it there for sure.
Yeah, and also we need that too here.
Mhm.
well, Sedgwick County has a moratorium on solar farms
Uh-huh.
and, you know, we can't, I mean, they can't even get that passed just for a solar farm, let alone something more progressive than this. And that's, I'm just making a comment. It's real frustrating to me to watch how great ideas get taken to government officials and then it
Right.
just kind of just gets thrown into the ground. So,
Mhm. You may correct me. I was looking to the news, last week, and
okay, what?
to the news. Is there like kind of a ban to the solar farm in Wichita?
It's been more than a year that we've had a moratorium on
Okay.
solar farms. It's been more than that we've had not a moratorium, but a ban on wind farms
Okay.
in Sedgwick County. But the solar farms, and Deborah will tell you, she was so frustrated because she serves on the MAPC
Okay.
and they had a special committee designed to research this and they spent 6 months doing it. And they had an excellent report.
Yeah.
And the county commission said, oh, we don't like your report. We need a specialist, I need a consultant to come in.
Okay.
Well, guess where the consultants come from? Normally oil and gas.
Yes.
You know, they don't come from anybody who wants solar. They've chosen a Berkeley group, I think is their consultant. I kind of looked them up.
Who they ended up with.
I looked them up. All they are is people who just do the research that the MAPC already did and put it into report. So I don't, it makes
There's
sense
some
to me.
politics, you know,
Ah,
everywhere, you know, so I will not dive in this area.
yeah, my county commissioner is a fan of solar.
Okay.
He said it only makes sense fiscally to do it as well. But there are others on there who are in the pockets of, you know, oil and gas and they don't want to do it. So this is their whole scheme, is to make it not happen. And it's worked that way across the country.
I see.
Yeah, counties have that power and they are able to stop it a lot. Several other counties in Kansas have already done so. But yeah, they're still doing their moratorium. They're still doing their whatever study that they're supposed to.
Yeah,
be
this
doing.
is something came to my mind when I was looking to this particular area.
Mhm. Yeah, but this would be on city property, so it would not apply,
Sure.
right? We can do what we want. Because it's not open county property.
No.
They're talking about the open
Yeah,
county
yeah.
property. County that's not part of the city. So this could be done. G Lake could be done because that's not open county property, I don't think. I think that probably, who does own it?
Bureau
I
of
mean, it's owned by
Reclamation's-
somebody.
Bureau of Reclamation.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, it's very federal, yeah. Okay, so maybe it could be done,
Okay.
you know?
Department of Interior.
Yeah, that's why I said like I will share that. So let's target one of these 9 items and let's draft something and follow the structure of the
Yeah.
city to convince this level of information.
We don't have to start with something that size. We can start small,
Demonstrating it something,
start small and work your way up.
Mhm.
Because we certainly can't start big. Nothing ever starts big here. I'm sorry. It's true. Especially things that are for the environment. We wouldn't want to do that.
I'm good, yes.
Okay, awesome. Did you want to exit out of that real quick?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I have one more thing that Ethan reminded me of before we get to public comments. So the Food and Farm Council wants to come and present to the Sustainability Board. I thought the July agenda might be a good space for them to fit into that. They wanted to talk about the Master Food Plan and maybe get some input from SIB and support. So if it's okay with you guys, I'll add them to the July agenda. And then they do have a meeting coming July 2nd from 1 to 2 at the Ronald Reagan Building. If anyone would like to go and kind of maybe get some background information on that.
I want to go, but I work during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really, really want to start going to that committee. I'm very interested in that whole idea. But
Yeah, and their plan is available online if you want to take a look at it beforehand.
Mhm.
They've got a website.
they've got a really interesting website online.
Mhm.
We don't. Can we beef ours up or something? Ours sucks.
They have the plan to put on theirs.
I know.
I mean, we have everything we can on there. There's not really a whole lot
No.
more for us to
But there's
add.
not anything, there's not anything that draws attention. It's not anything that looks interesting. It's not anything with like photos and all this kind of stuff that some of the others have. Is what I'm just hoping that there's some way to do a marketing event with it, right?
Okay.
I mean, we need to market it.
Mhm.
We need to market this board.
Yeah.
We might get more people interested in joining us as well. If we were able to do something where people could go there and find stuff easily.
Yes.
After the redo of the website, it's not as easy to find stuff now either. So it'd be nice if there was somebody that had that expertise that could do that. So,
It's something Ethan and I have looked into. We looked into
Yeah.
kind of redesigning it to
Yeah.
have a little bit more more content in there as well to kind of add resources potentially and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, we're just with the cybersecurity thing, it kind of delayed a few things, but we're hoping to maybe get a new look for the sustainability
That
website.
would be great. I would love that. I'd love to be able to put the link up there and not just have it be nothing. You know, if I put it on, social media, it's nothing. There's nothing
Oh,
there. There's
okay.
a picture
I
that comes up when I put it up. It has to have something connected to it that you can see that makes you want to click on it.
All right, okay, I think that was the last item of discussion.
I just want to add that the cooling centers, which here are just libraries, rec centers, neighborhood centers, city hall, those are all open to the public right now. So if you know somebody that needs somewhere to go during the day, Friday is going to be really bad, I think.
I hear
Yeah.
that.
So
3 digits.
say again.
3 digits.
Yep.
In the hundreds. So yeah, just
102, I heard.
spreading the word and making people aware of that, I think is a good thing to do right
Are
now.
people using that?
The cooling
Are
center.
people coming?
Yeah, no, I see people at the library definitely coming in to cool off.
Yeah, I mean, besides homeless people.
I guess I don't know for sure, like all the other locations. I haven't gone to all of them, but the option's always there and they've tried to push it out, I think, in the news.
I've seen it, yeah.
Where did you see something about updates about the park elementary school for homeless?
Oh, the multi.
You have any updates?
Center. You could check what most recently been posted. I don't know if there was anything decided because the school board, I don't think, fully made their decision.
Yeah, I saw the news spiked and disappeared. That's why I was trying
Yeah.
to catch with you something. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was some hesitancy from the school board to vote on it yet.
Okay.
Okay, say that again. What are you talking about?
There's a multi-agency center being discussed at one of the, I don't remember which school it is, but one of the park. Okay, at that location.
Okay, so the city's going to put that in? Or the schools are gonna put that in.
The
It was
city,
a proposal that the city made to buy Park
By the
Elementary.
elementary
Yes.
school.
And,
Okay,
and the school board was gonna sell it to them for $1, and then something happened that they said, we wanna think about it.
yeah, we want more money.
Yeah, I don't
course.
know.
Hmm.
I kind of, my feeling is that there's a lot of angry parents that they
Yes.
closed that building and being immensely angry, and that would probably made them even more
Okay.
angry, so.
I
Okay,
don't know.
so that's our last discussion item. Do we have any public comments?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
Plan ahead for the first Saturday in October. Drive Electric Week will be that day, first Saturday in October.
Good.
So plan ahead. It's gonna be at Town East Square.
Okay, otherwise, I guess I'll adjourn the meeting. Hope to see you guys all at the July meeting on July 24th, I believe.
I have a comment.
Oh, yeah.
I just, I'm glad you heard about the Berkeley group, because I didn't know who they were using. And actually, when I had been looking up stuff, because I had been to a lot of these county commission meetings. This is Jennifer, by the way, Jennifer Connolly. And so when I had been looking up information, if somebody they would use, it would have been the Berkeley group, but I don't know a lot about it. You know, they have their little regulations. If you're overwhelmed by what's ever going on with your solar projects, operators seek a 2-year pause on approvals. U.S. You know, so it goes on about what they do nationally, but there is very, very few companies that even deal in something like that outside of the city. So I think we should address the county commission and find out what the Berkeley group is doing and what they have gotten so far, and whether the biggest question is after they make the regulations for the Sedgwick County or any other county, well, not Sedgwick County, but any county that they make the regulations for, how many of these solar projects have gone forward after the regulations were made? I think that's the most important question that we have for them. And if so, if they have gone forward, what did those regulations look like? So I don't know if the city can ask those questions. It is our taxpayers' money that went into this. There wasn't any comments, public comments on whether we wanted to have an outside source come in. They just voted on it and it was done. So in my opinion, the city is involved because it's our taxpayer money. So I don't know what you guys think, but I think that we should address that to the city. I know I'm probably going to go to the next county commission meeting and say something similar to what I've said tonight.
Look up the Berkeley Group, Johnson County, Kansas. They made their recommendations to them.
Okay.
That was the
And-
2-mile area of influence they recommended.
Yeah.
That's a
We have to
tactic.
know
That's a tactic,
Yeah.
and it works.
Yeah.
But that's not that's not a tactic. That's a tactic that's invented by someone who's opposed to solar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
group
we
that's
know
opposed to solar.
that. We know that a 2-mile is not doable. Feasible, and it depends on whether you're talking about a large city or you're talking about a little town. Because if you're talking about a little town, 2-mile area of influence around another little town, and then another little town will keep solar out.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that the sustainability board should have something to say to the city council about this and how that's affecting us as citizens and how we are paying for something that we didn't ask for.
Is the city council involved with this at all? I don't know that they would be. I think it's just county commission.
Just the county
Yes.
commission, but
Does the city council have a voice on anything like this?
They
I'm not-
should, because it has a direct impact on the city. As we've just
They
seen.
don't have a vote. They have a voice as much as elected officials have a voice in regards to it, but they don't have a vote on it.
Yeah.
no, and we already seen how all that looked. Even Metropolitan Area Planning Commission, only one person voted against it, and that's a huge board. And all the other people from the city and the county that worked on the project, and they, they said, well, we still need some outside source to tell us what the regulation should be.
Mhm.
So it was a big slap in the face.
Okay, if that is all the public comment, I will adjourn the meeting then. Thank you guys for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.